Hello, everyone. This is not Britain's Hanging Hour, though, but I am back once again with JCM Berne. Joe, how you doing, man?
How you doing, man? Good. I'm good.
Even though we were kind of talking a few minutes ago, catching up. But if you didn't gather, um, sadly, we're not talking about Invincible, though funnily enough, we do have Invincible in the background. We're talking about Blood Reunion, the third book of the Hybrid Helix
It's the
saga.
original
Yeah. Is that hardback?
and the new hardback. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see we redid the we redid all the graphic design.
Oh, very nice.
So it's
So I
very
should
similar.
ask, since we did have a not a slight hiccup because you said it didn't really matter, but was there any rewriting involved with Blood Reunion?
It's either none or like I fixed two typos. Like it's
Okay.
certainly nothing significant, and I'm not even sure I fixed two typos. I changed the front matter. Like I added like the thing where you say like this, I don't give permission to use this to train AI. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I put it in there. And then I added something to, I think I might have fixed up like the back matter, but nothing in the text of significance was certainly. I don't even remember if I changed a typo or two, but if I was, it was really like a typo or two. It wasn't even, no, I really rewrote Return of the Griffin, but nothing else.
Okay,
That was
that's good.
never, yeah, I felt, I didn't
I just
feel
wanted to make
that
sure,
this needed it.
because last time I was
Oh,
kind of,
yeah.
worried that I missed something, but you were like, "Nah, it's all good."
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This really is nothing to miss. It really was just a typography, getting all the covers to match the new branding. A very popular, well-known artist saw me and at DragonCon we were talking. It's like, your typography is not doing you any favors. I'm like, well, what do you suggest? So he made a suggestion. I'm like, we can do that. So I took his suggestion to my guy J Caleb Designs. I said, can you redo all my covers? Because he hadn't done the original but he took I have the artwork from Chris McGrath did the paintings.
hmm
So he redid them, and then we released them in December. That sounds right. December, January. I don't remember. Anyway, it's all good.
so earlier this year.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't want to wait as long as I did last time for in between Wistful
Mm-hmm.
Ascending and Return of the Griffin. So yeah, we're back here. It's been a little bit, but I did read Blood Reunion back in March. I think it's kind of funny
Okay.
actually. I think it was our conversation that got me like, you know what? I'm just gonna read Blood Reunion. I need a palate cleanser. So
Palette cleanse. Yeah.
they're good palate
Yeah.
cleanser
Hey,
books. I mean, it's got themes
hey,
and all that, but they're
that
fun to
works for
read.
me. I'm not. It works. That's perfect. I've heard many other people say that, like, oh, if I read something like, really heavy, like I just finished like a Janny Wirtz or like, like Song of Ice and Fire book, and then I'm gonna need something to reset my brain. And we go to your books. I'm like, okay, man, if that works, that's fantastic.
I
I'm
need
very happy to be in that role.
I need me
What do
some good
people call it?
old.
The slump buster, right? But it's because of the density, right? Like the idea is like, I mean, I don't always succeed, but I try to write them so like every page is like trying to draw you forward a little bit. It's
Mhm.
pretty fast. I don't have a lot of like long. I don't have a lot of like long, slow descriptions or philosophical debates or anything. And I do it deliberately, right? The idea is not to give you things to get hung up on. So if you're kind of having a low energy time, read these books and they'll just draw you through.
Well,
That's
yeah.
the plan. That's
So
the
for
plan.
those who don't know, if you've gotten this far and have just forgotten, it's been zapped from your brain what this series is about. It's about Rohan, um, that guy right there, as
Guy.
he's attempting to find a new life for himself after serving as basically the ultimate weapon for the Ildrock people. He's a not a half breed because that's like a racist term, isn't it? He's half Ildrock and half human. So there you go. And
Yeah.
he's like, man, I'm tired of all this war stuff. I've blown a bunch of stuff up. I've punched stuff. I'm tired of that. I want to do this tow truck thing, not tow truck thing, but I'm gonna tow
Yeah.
these spaceships. And Ildrock's like, you know what? Fine, go away, do your thing.
Well, he
But of
does one
course,
last he does one last job, right? It's the John Wick thing,
yeah, pretty much.
right? He does one last job for them. I don't remember if I stole that from John Wick or if I stole it from somewhere else, but it's like we're not going to let you go. It's like, well, okay, but then I can't do this thing. Like, if you can do this one thing, we'll let you go. So like, all right.
Luckily, no
So he
animals are
does the
harmed
one
in
thing.
the making of this book. Well, there are like psychic space eldritch beings that get harmed, but yeah, they're fine. Like they'll, they can deal with it.
Yeah. Are there any animals harmed? I don't think so.
And on top three, the animals aren't those animals technically? Like, I mean, they don't really get like seriously harmed, but
yeah,
they
they're
get like,
kaiju. They're tough enough that we don't worry about them, and they like to eat. Yeah, they're violent enough that we're like, yeah, if they get punched a little bit,
well, I'm not.
they get
What
roughed up a little bit.
What I'm
We're
saying
okay with it.
is that there wasn't
Yeah.
any dumb Ildrock kids who accidentally killed the Griffin's dog, without knowing,
Oh,
without
I see.
knowing
Yeah, yeah.
who.
In that way, there's no John. No. Rohan's dog will never die. That is a solemn promise from me to
Um,
you. I will never use that particular trope. No one will ever kidnap his like girlfriend's kid to get him to do anything. Like that is off the table. Tell
Wait,
you right
so
now.
if I remember, is this the one where he gets the bar, or was that in Return of the Griffin? Because I remember reading this or
He
in one of the books. I'm like, he has a bar in this. This wasn't explained.
he
And
has
you're
a
like, it was, but it was in
he
a novella. And I'm like, oh man.
he owns a distillery
Yes.
and that happens in Foreign Powers, which takes place. It's a short story. It's an okay short story. It takes place. I wouldn't say like, oh, you should all go read it right now. I would not say that. It's fine. It takes place after Return of the Griffin. So after that, sometimes it's mentioned that, oh, you own a distillery, and oh, and he's tracking his the shipments of the liquor and the profits stuff. But none of it's important to the storyline really. It may be one day, but probably not.
Yeah, I
Very
was
good
about to
chance it
say
just will never
like it's
really.
brought up like pretty early on. I was like, "What?" And I texted you, and you're like, "Oh,
It's not
part of
yeah.
a short story." Sorry. I'm like,
Foreign.
"Oh,
It
okay."
happens in foreign powers is an interesting story because I was trying to do something that I think is kind of cool and interesting, and I don't think I did a great job of it. So it's probably not a great story, but I still give it to everyone who like joins my newsletter. I send you a link. I'll send anyone a link. I actually think if anyone's going to read a short by me, they should read Zero Twist or The Christmas Story. The Christmas Story I thought was really good, but that's best read after Shadow of Hyperion. Shadow of Hyperion. Anyway,
So
yeah.
yeah.
You
So
write for years. You accumulate. Oh, every once in a while you write a short story, and soon you've got a whole like set of ancillary stuff. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
but yeah. So but of course, a plot's got to happen. So there's so sometimes Rohan has to punch things on occasion.
Yeah.
On occasion, he really
Yeah.
doesn't want to. Like he'd prefer to just talk things out over a beer. But a lot of people are like, I don't wanna. Let's punch each other. And he's like, okay, fine. That's kind of how the series goes. At least so far, that's how it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anything, Wistful Setting had the least structured plot. Right? Like this like the Ursins come, like a wormhole opens, but then a lot of stuff after that it's all linked, but it's not linked in like an easy to describe in one sentence way. This is the book where I was and book 2 had sort of there's an invasion of Earth, he's got to stop it. Okay, so that's pretty clear. And this was also much more straightforward, right? You have a space vampire starts eating people, and Rohan doesn't want to, he's like, don't eat my friends. And he says, I'm going to keep eating your friends. And he goes, well, then we have a problem.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like,
He's like, oh,
we're
you
going to
took
have
the
a
bear.
problem.
Oh, you took my bear friends. Oh, it's
You
personal.
took my bear
know?
friends. Yeah. Yeah.
We're
You took
gonna
my bear
cream.
friends and my boss, right? He
And my
basically,
boss, yeah.
he basically took over Wistful, which was a problem for
Yes.
everybody. And then, yeah.
So yeah, I then ended up noticing them. Like, I've realized that there's kind of a pattern with these books, which that's kind of a thing when you do series like this. Like there's a prologue, and then there's like a build up to the action, and then it's like and here's how we got here. It's one of those kind of stories I've noticed. I'm like,
This one is the last one I did like that.
yeah, I remember you
'Cause the
saying
next-
that to me.
Yeah, the next. So
Which
I
it's not
like
bad
that.
or anything. I just kind of thought that was funny. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a little pattern here.
I like the structure, but I wasn't like married to it. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
it wasn't to me. It wasn't the most important thing. It was just a thing I kind of like. I like because it's a thing they do on TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's whole TV shows like spy shows were structured like that, where you start off with like this action scene, like I don't know what's going on, and then the whole show is like how we got there. And I like that structure, but so many people complain that I'm like, fine, I'm just not going to do it anymore. It's also really restrictive because you've got to come up with something that's going to happen in that, like, towards in that building action at the very end, but that you're not giving anything away by putting that scene in the beginning. And then you got to throw in all these red herrings referring to it. So like, oh, is this the person that's going to show up in that scene? No, this isn't, right? You got to, so it makes the whole book, it's a big constraint. So I ditched it for Shadow of Hyperion. And then I haven't used it. So books 4, 5, 6, and 7 are written, and I didn't use that. So they're all very normal linear. They're all straight linear. Like, they don't all take place in the same span of time, but it's always around something like a week or two each book. Yeah. I enjoy that structure. I really do, but no one else did, or not no one, but enough people, and like, this is interesting, right? Like, I'm an indie author, and like, I can read the reviews and talk to like, conversations like this will often lead me to make not thematic changes, but some structural and some content changes. Like, just for example, everyone loves the Ursins so much. I don't really plan to have more of them in subsequent books, but people responded so positive that now I throw them in every book. There's pretty much, right? And it's like,
the gang.
and I don't think it's like breaking the spirit of the story, right? Like, because he was going to have a gang anyway, and have the Ursins be some of them. There's no reason they shouldn't be. It just wasn't really my plan, and I probably gave them more screen time than I would have, except people love them. So I'm like, okay, I'll give them a few more pages of dialogue, whatever. So I'm willing to bend a little bit to feedback. A little bit.
Like I said, I didn't have a problem with it. I just kind of was like,
Good.
That's interesting. I noticed this little trend here. So this one, we have Eldritch Vampire, is for lack of a better term, who, as you do, Rohan and his friends are kind of screwing around on a planet, and they accidentally bring a Eldritch Vampire back, and he just starts causing chaos everywhere. Like, this is really the one where, like, Rohan really gets grabbed by the balls, and, like, he really has to improvise. Which I know you might go, well, that's every book, Britain. But this one in particular, like, he was really squeezing them there for a minute.
Yeah, he's probably in rougher shape.
He gets his ass kicked all over this book, by the way. He's just getting his ass beaten. It's like the new Superman trailer, He's just...
He gets almost cut in half in Return of the Griffin. He gets pretty beaten up. He almost killed in the opening sequence of Wistful Ascending.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's all a matter of degrees, right? But this I feel like he spent a lot of time struggling because he was on the run. And I don't know that we've seen that as much in the past. We see it again in later books, but he gets beaten pretty good in this one.
I was about to say, he gets pummeled a lot in this book. Like,
he pummeled a lot in this book.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna try and hold him off, and you're like, no, it's suicide. And he's like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. And he runs over, and he just gets freaking demolished.
Yeah, it's not fine.
It's not fine.
It's not fine. Like, it'll be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. You were wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then the Ildrock get involved, and it turns into kind of a mess. Not like the book was a mess, just a mess for all the characters,
Because if it's straightforward, if it's like, oh, there's a bad vampire, I got to kill him, and then you kill him, it's like, oh, you got 4 chapters, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have other stuff going on. You gotta have distractions. The mystery of why is Wistful letting this guy run around? I added that all because I realized that if there was a vampire loose in the station and she wasn't somehow compromised, because I know what happens later in the series, right? I know more background on her. She could get rid of something like this on her own. Like, she doesn't even need Rohan, right? So I was like, I got to do something to make this more believable, I guess. I don't want to go about later and say, oh, if she has this kind of military ability, then why didn't she use it in book 3? Like, this, I have to always think defensively as a writer, right? Because it's like, you always have to say, like, okay, so whoever's on that ship, they want to get rid of this vampire, then you have to make sure that you can never again in the future reveal that they had abilities at this point in time that would have let them get rid of the vampire. right? So if you want to say like later on, oh, this person's actually stronger than we realized, but well, then why didn't they use it in Blood Reunion, right? Like you've always got to think that way about the plot, or you don't have to. Some people don't, and they just write books with plot holes, but that aggravates me. So,
Fair enough.
yeah.
It's like you and your long-standing beef with Lost.
Yeah, I really don't like plot holes. I really hate when it's my long-standing beef with a lot of a lot of shonen anime have trouble with this, right? It's sort of by the way, there's this guy in this cave and he's super powerful, and like, well then where was he when they were like, it's like the Avengers problem, right?
Uh-huh.
Right,
Yeah.
like in not in the comics, but in the comics are actually really bad in superhero comics in general. It's sort of like there's this thing threatening the world. Like where were all the
Wait, are you
where were all
saying
the
this is
other
like a
teams?
bad problem in superhero comics?
Well, like you can ignore it, right? You can just sort of ignore
Oh,
it, but
okay.
it's sort of
Okay.
like, well, if Galactus shows up and he's threatening the world, right, and the Fantastic
Mm-hmm.
Four are trying to stop him, well, where are the Avengers? Where are the champions? Where are the Defenders? Where's all the other teams? It's their world too. Why aren't and sometimes they try to say, oh, everyone's trying to fight off this invader, but often I feel like it's like, oh, but this is Superman's bad guy, so no one else is like, why isn't Batman kill Lex Luthor? You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, he's your bad guy. I'll leave him alone. It's like, right? It's like I don't know if Batman's in a position to kill. Batman doesn't kill people, but like someone, right? Why doesn't Green Arrow put like an arrow through Lex Luthor's throat? Like
Mm-hmm.
that. But it's a conceit of the genre. But those kind of things bug me, so I try to
Yeah.
avoid it.
But yeah, the Ildrock get involved, and it just goes to hell from there.
Yeah, we see the Eldrock fleet. We see a matron,
Yeah.
right? Yes, that's this book.
And if because of course we met Rohan's mom last book, it's only appropriate that we meet his dad in this one. And I wasn't quite sure how to feel about him because like he's like I was mentioning this to you a while back. I'm like, he's like oddly like lighthearted, but he's also like a massive jerk at the same time.
He, he's He
Like
is one of my favorite characters to write because he is such an asshole. I just the way one of my favorite things is the way he
go away.
it's the way he treats his wife or his wife, right? Just like total disrespect. This sort of old school, like, oh, you belong at my side, hush up, woman. And she just is like, whatever, because there are people like that, right? There's plenty of relationships like that where lots of women in the real world are like, I'm not saying it's good, but it happens all the time. Women are like, oh yeah, it's my job to kind of be subservient. He's the man, and oh, it's so silly of him. He, insults me, and oh well, and people put up with that stuff. So I wrote him as just to be the biggest asshole because it's been established in the first two books that he's just not a good guy. That he's got reasons to be not a good guy. Maybe we can forgive him for some of it, but
yeah,
he's meant to be annoying.
And Rohan just is like, oh my god, like why? Like, you're killing me. He kind of, I don't know if you ever played GTA 4, but he kind of like when I read him, I always think of like Roman Bellic. I was half expecting him. I was half expecting him to ask Rohan to go bowling with him at some point, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
I'm not a big gamer, so of all the weird geeky references and like things in these books, they're not going to have gaming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which in another life, a very similar person to me would have been a gamer, right? I guess, but like there's a lot of Easter eggs in here that are like old kung fu movies and like anime and old science fiction stuff, but not gaming stuff.
Or maybe he's like the granddad in Dragon Ball or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like it's like it's a little bit of Master Roshi in him, but more of a jerk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was like, he's not really like Nolan from because going back to Invincible, because like he's more like a spy master than like, oh, we're gonna take over the world and combat.
So the conceit of these books is that the Ildrock themselves are not that. There might be like superheroes, but they're not really high level superheroes on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So Druve in a fist fight is no match for his son.
Mm-hmm.
Because his powers aren't fully activated, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's only in the hybrids or the matrons or in theory, the Ildrak themselves, if they somehow become sterilized,
Uh-huh.
then their powers would overwhelm them. But so he's tougher than a normal guy, but he's not like, it's not like what's his name from Invincible? Invincible's dad. Invincible's dad is like
Nolan.
super strong. Nolan is full blown. He's as at least as powerful as his son, at least early in the series, or much more so. Right.
Mhm.
This is not the case. Druv is not that tough on his own. So they are like spy masters. They are like behind the scenes manipulating things. That's why they raise their kids and like they make these hybrids and like train them to be, sort of brainwash them to be like child soldiers, right? Loyal, because that's the that's the might of the empire is in those kids. I mean, that was the setup for the whole thing. I mean, that was taken straight from my reaction to that Invincible storyline with the purple kids. And I was like, I got to do something different because that bugged me.
So yeah,
That's the whole genesis.
Yeah, so yeah, we met his mom last book, and now we've met his dad. And it's like, it's so weird because again, I don't really know what to make of him because again, he cracks these really bad jokes, but like he kind of knows that they're bad, and he's just kind of like, I'm just rolling with it, It's really weird, and he's also kind of a dickhead,
Really is. He really is.
And he's like,
we'll see more of him in later books.
And of course, like many other kind of high government officials, he's like, well, let's make this guy into a weapon. And Rohan's like, no, that is a terrible idea. No.
well, all the Ildrak are like that, right? This is where you start to realize why the Empire is the way it is it's governed by fear. And that's the theme. That's the theme of the series, in a way, right? They're all terrified. And so they're like grabbing power every way they can because that's what people do when they're terrified, right? They search for things that will defend them. They search for things that will make them stronger. And they often make bad choices.
Yeah, and he and Rohan, I mean, they don't see eye to eye, but they have like this kind of complicated relationship where like, I don't know, like Rohan kind of feels bad for him and he kind of explains like, yeah, he saw some stuff back in the day and he's kind of messed up from that, but then he's also kind of like, you're kind of a dick, Dad. Fuck you.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing that's kind of my whole point of writing Rohan, right? The whole point is he is a very smart, very understanding, compassionate guy. Mm-hmm. So he's got that he's always trying to figure out. He always understands where people are coming from. People who are this is the part of me that I put in the character, right? This is why I wrote him. Is because I do the same thing. But he's always trying to understand people who are different from him. But it also you got to temper that. At some point, like you can understand why it's this person who's a danger is a danger. You can understand where they're coming from. Oh, they had a bad childhood. They had whatever trauma that they've experienced. That's making them a problem. But at some point, you still have to twist their head off if you can't find another way to because you still have to protect the innocent people around. Mm-hmm. So you can understand, I understand why you are the way you are, but I'm sorry, but like I'd like to be able to fix it somehow. But at the end of the day, if I have to, I will twist your head off. And that literally is how this book ends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very, very deliberately, right? Like that was the point of the book.
It's not for a lack of trying as well.
Well, that's the thing. I think you have a moral responsibility to try other things before you twist someone's head off. You got to try to help them if you can. Fix them. Get them to get so because if someone's trying to eat all your friends, if something's wrong with them, they're really hungry. Maybe they have a tapeworm. You got to figure it out. You got to try to figure it out, but sometimes you can't. And then get the action sequence.
Yeah, him and his.
But it's very much not Jack Reacher. Because Jack Reacher does not care why you're a bad guy.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Punisher.
Yeah, Jack Reacher doesn't think about it. He'll say like, "Why do you think this guy's such a sadist?" He's like, "I never gave it much thought." Right? Like that would be his response. He doesn't care. He doesn't have that. It's like, "Oh, you're a problem. We will eliminate you." And I'm like, which is a great story. It's just not the story I'm writing.
Yeah, I was about to say him and like the Punisher are very like cut and dry. Yeah.
The Punisher doesn't have. Doesn't like, oh well, this mobster slaughters people because he was abused as a child. Punisher doesn't care. Punisher, if you told the Punisher that and he was like, oh, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't be like, oh, well, I'll change maybe he needs therapy, right? Punisher's not giving the guy therapy. Like, that'd be a great Punisher storyline where like something happens to him and he like kidnaps all these takes them to group therapy, like in chains, gets them all to talk through their problems and like become responsible citizens. This is why Marvel Comics is never going to hire me. The Punisher,
yeah, no,
the therapist.
no, but going back to this book, Rohan is not the Punisher though.
It's very much not.
He's just kind of, well, I mean, he goes, I forget exactly what happens. He finds another AI who's basically gone insane because it's been alone for too long.
Repentant.
Yeah, repentant, yes.
My first trans character that we know of in the books.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because they call him he, and it's like, no, or, well, no, is it a she?
He insists on it. Every other ship and space station is a she, which is the language convention of ships, right? We call them all she. And Repentant insists on not being called she. Repentant identifies as male, which is funny, and it's not meant to be a major plot point, but it was trying to make a point that, you know, it was trying to make a small point. It's the closest I come to representation. I don't have a lot of trans characters in the books, partially because I'm postulating that it's a future with like such advanced biological technology that if someone were trans, you would almost never know. Like they'd have the surgery would be, you know what I mean? It would be like trivial, not trivial, but like, you know, perfect. And you would have no idea. So like, it's almost like if there might be other trans characters in the book and you don't know. And I don't really feel like it's a major theme that I need to address in these books. It's not my thing. But for somehow for Repentant, it made sense to me that he's a he, and he is broken and insane. And that was, you know, that's just, I needed that for the story.
And he's basically like, you have to run. You have to go away from here. And Rohan, of course, is like, why? And he doesn't explain. And then, if I recall, that's when the vampire kind of, like, I guess he just kind of sneaks on and stows away.
They don't know that at the time, but yes, exactly. Yeah. They're down on the planet, and the guy with the jail planet, right? The whole planet was a prison for this dude.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's all like, I'm the master. And he's like, they left me. And so it turns out that this eldritch vampire is actually like a really old being. I forget its name at the moment. From long time ago that are basically extinct at this point. They were kind of the Ildrock before the Ildrock were a thing.
Yeah, they've left. They've left the system. We don't really know if they're extinct. There are none left in the sector.
Yeah.
So I think the idea is they might come back at some point, and they might not. We don't know, but they're off. They left. They abandoned the place. So.
But
ill sign.
Except
one
this
of the ill
one.
sign.
And this one is a vampire. And they also created a lot of the AI ships so they can just kind of slip on and be like, ha, I'm your boss now, and you're going to do what I want, because I'm evil. And Wistful's like, okay, fine, whatever. She doesn't really want to, but she's like, I can't resist, I'm sorry. 3 laws. It's a bitch. And
Yep.
Ron's like, damn it. What are we going to do?
Yeah, again, if not for that little like twist, then it would have been a much shorter book. Because if Wistful hadn't been compromised, like, I couldn't figure out a good way to make this all as tough as it had to be.
And of course, that's when his dad shows up and is like, we got to think it over. We got to get this vampire out of here. And Rohan's like, really? Do we have to? Like, I don't really want to kill him. It's like, I don't want to be a weapon anymore. Like, it's my whole arc through this series.
He doesn't want to be a weapon anymore. And, I don't know if I even thought about this when I first started writing this, but he's got to identify with this dude in a way.
Yeah, he even kind of brings that up in here.
Yeah.
Where him and his best friend, the empath, is like, look, man, like, you tried, but like sometimes you just gotta pop some skulls off,
That's Whaley's job in every book, is to come to Rohan at some point and like straighten him out.
Yeah, she's like, look, I know you don't like this. I don't like it either, but you're gonna have to kill this guy. And he's like,
you're,
damn it,
Rohan, you're being a dick.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Stop it.
Yeah,
every book, right?
Yeah,
gotta have a Whaley moment. pretty much. I don't know if she does it in book 2, actually.
We also learn how vampires work, which if I recall, they're kind of different than like vampires how we understand them. They're not your granddad's vampires.
They're not. The whole vampirism. Yeah. So basically, you've got like every living thing in the setting has like a soul, and it has a certain amount of magical power associated with it. So most people have a very, very small. So I'm thinking like anyone with training could like maybe make a sheet of paper move a little bit after years of training, but they couldn't like take down a building, right? But then if you want, so some people have more, like they're born that way, just like some people are born like with to be taller or smarter or stronger, whatever, right? Like some people are born with souls that have more potency. And then another way to increase the potency is to eat someone else's soul.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't
And
really
then-
drink blood. They're more after like the essence of a person.
They do, but the blood conveys the soul, which is not something I invented.
Or
I got that from somewhere.
And the vampire who sneaks on, the Eldritch vampire, he is like way more power. Like he's actually, if I recall right, they call him like a soul, or he's a shadow stepper.
Oh yeah.
Which is like this really rare ability, and it freaks everyone out.
Yeah, we have one in Return of the Griffin. The guy's name I forget who sneaks into the prison.
Oh yeah,
to attack Rohan. He does the same thing, right? So we've got people can sort of step sideways from the world and like into this world that's like a shadow of our world, but then they can like move through it and then come back. And that I stole from. It's a little bit like something that do in Amber Chronicles of Amber. It's Roger Zelazny. It's a little bit like there's a series of books called like Night Watch, and then it's like Other Words with Watch by a Russian author, and it had a very similar concept that I loved. The books are good. The books are really good, but I didn't love the books, but I like them a lot. But I stole the idea. These people can like move into these like other layers of reality that are sort of underneath ours.
So, with respect towards the other books that I haven't read yet, because I don't know how dangerous the villains will be in those books, but this is probably the most dangerous villain that Rohan and crew have faced so far. So far is what I'm saying. I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but I thought he was, because I'm like, good lord,
I don't know.
Rohan's on his toes in this book. Oh yeah, that's right.
The sharks in book 2 were killing tens of millions of people. And
that was right.
Rohan could really take one out one-on-one.
Yeah, the sharks. That's the whole thing. Sharks are tough.
But, you want to write like a story about like an OP main character, right? You got to give him.
You got to give some OP.
If you don't have some OP adversaries, it's sort of like, well, all right. Then you can do it, right? You can do it where, like One Punch Man. Have you read One Punch Man?
Yeah, I've read some of it. I've enjoyed it.
So I really like that, and I don't know why it works, and I can't explain it. Right? Because he
just works out and loses all his hair, and he's become all powerful.
But the point is, like, he never struggles to defeat a villain. There's no one in that series who can take more than like a couple punches from him. Right?
Yeah.
It's like
that's not kind of the joke of the series.
It is, but it doesn't work just on a. It doesn't. To me, I don't think it works just as a parody. I think it's more. I think it works on a level beyond that. And I haven't really figured out how. So you can have an OP main character who just has an easy time with fights, but you've got to give people something. And I still try to give Rohan some real challenges, partially to make him. Because if he doesn't have real challenges, he's not going to have to like change his situation. And I want to kind of force him to try to change his situation because I want him to be more proactive as the series moves on, which you'll really see after book 5.
But okay, I'll rephrase. In my opinion, this is the most dangerous villain he's faced so far.
Yeah.
In my reading of it, it might be different. Maybe in book 4, he'll go up against a real,
You gotta see.
Well, anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but yeah, this guy's no slouch, is what I'm trying to say.
No, he's very much good. I'm glad that came across. That was.
I mean, it's really not often that he has to like turn off his power,
right?
Because like he can sense it somehow, and he's like, you're only gonna have to turn it off. It's gonna make healing really difficult, but you're gonna have to do it because he'll come and kill us. And Ron's like, fine. So he does. And he's just in pain throughout the entirety of this book. I'm just like, damn, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you get a hole punch through your gut. That's gonna suck.
That's not gonna.
He
got Filtermite speared through the through the stomach.
I feel like I took stuff from Invincible. Like that was one of the things that was interesting in Invincible is like the character would take beatings so severe that he'd be, healing for months.
Yeah.
Right. Like almost torn in half, and like, I was like, I like that. I like that sense that these guys are really tough, but they're not invincible. That's sort of the running joke of that the title is actually inaccurate because he gets his ass kicked a lot.
At least physically.
He's very invincible. Yes, he's very invincible, but that would have been a weird title. Just Vincible. Or the Vincer. I vince other people. I don't know. I feel it. There's a language pun in there I don't know how to make. I'll get it.
But same thing with Rohan. He is very vincible in this book.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Order of the Famine? The vampires who refuse to eat.
Oh yeah. I was gonna bring them up. They're like vegetarian vampires in a way. Which sounds really frustrating because they even are like, well, because there's like one part in the book, he's like, are you into me? Because we can just get that out of the way right now. And she's like, that's a bad idea. And he's like, well, why is that? And he's like, well, if we get it going, then, that's going to be a bad time for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And Rohan's like, all right, fine. I'll just deal with this.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
It's really sad, too. More. Like, the guy who was turned into a vampire, he's like, I miss my friends. And Rohan's like, well, I can be your friend. And then he dies. He's like, damn, dude. This sucks.
Yeah.
Rohan's like, no. I forget the guy's name. It's like Brandon or something. Not Brandon.
Yeah. I don't remember. I wrote the book and I don't remember the guy's name. I had fun with those. You like to have the good. It's like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing. You want to have some good vampires here and there, just to like mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like people who are on your side, but they're still vampires, but they can tell you like
Yeah, they kind of remind me of the Jedi a little bit, and this is probably just because I'm kind of on a big Star Wars kick as of right now, as the recording of this video. But they're kind of like, we cannot partake, and.
We just finished Andor and then watched Rogue One.
Oh, yeah?
And that reminded me of why I didn't like Rogue One that much. Not that it was a bad movie, but there were parts of it I didn't like. Anyway. But
I mean, if people will goon over the prequels now, they'll goon over anything. That's what I've learned.
Star Wars fans are strange.
Yeah, I've been so like thrown off by this like love the prequels have gotten. And look, I'm not saying like I get it. Like, the sequel movies weren't very good, but
that's true.
The prequels are not good movies either. And I see like reactors just driven to tears by the bad George Lucas dialogue, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, they were not good. They were not good.
I don't get it at all. But
they were not good. I mean, they had good things in them. Like Darth Maul was cool. The visual effects were phenomenal for the time, but they were not good movies anyway. Yeah.
But the famine kind of remind me of the Jedi a little bit, and they're like, well, we can't they're not like they can't attach to people, but they can't like do regular things that like us normal people can do, Yeah,
it's that constant battle against their urge to eat other people.
Yeah. So they like shoot up, or if I recall, they like shoot up like serums or something so that they like are satiated.
I mean, they try, but none of it's going to be as good as human blood.
Yeah, exactly.
And they know that, right? It's that whole thing, the whole. I must have seen that somewhere. I'm trying to remember where I stole that from, and I can't. I've read a lot of weird stuff over the years, but there's a lot of Japanese vampire stories that have like the one vampire who fights, the one vampire, the vampire who fights the other vampires but doesn't eat humans themselves. That's not
it's like Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah. I can't remember the whole backstory of Vampire Entity. I read a couple of the novels of Vampire Entity. It was a long time ago. It was not they weren't great in my opinion, but it was a long time ago.
No, but so yeah, things are really looking bad for our main protagonists here. And also, I guess if I recall, like the Ursins are like especially susceptible to this eldritch vampire, and they like a couple of them, including our favorite, bloodthirsty Ursin, no pun intended. Aang gets like thrown under the vampire sway and basically becomes like a hostage. He's like, I'll kill them if you try to mess with me.
Yeah. I mean, one of I don't know if it's a theme, but it's kind of a running storyline, is that a lot of the life forms that you run into in this series are genetically engineered from something for a purpose, right? So, like, why are these Ursins like, why have a bunch of, big, thick, meaty, like, what do you need, like intelligent bears for, like. You don't need like manual labor, right? Like and if you're genetically engineering intelligent bears, you have machines that can like lift stuff, right? You don't need like, we need strong people to like log, to cut down trees in the forest for the logging industry. You don't need them for that. So what are they for? Why were they bred? And it's like, well, they're tasty. And when you've got a 500, 1,200-pound bear, it's a lot of blood. If you're hungry,
if I recall, does he like feed on them, or does he just kind of like, or does he just kind of hold them hostage?
He just doesn't kill them, but he feeds on them. That's how he gets his strength back that whole time. But he can just drink a little bit from one and a little bit. But again, they're 1,200 pounds. You can take a lot of blood from a 1,200-pound bear, I imagine, without killing it. So that's how he gets so much stronger in that interval while he's got them all hostage.
So
it's just, to him, it's just a buffet.
So they attempt to try and stop the vampire, but it fails, and our guy vampire gets killed, and the eldritch vampire smokes Rohan, like wipes the floor with him. And Rohan's like, shit, well, what are we gonna do now? So they have to like escape, and then they're like, well, bad news, you're gonna have to turn your powers off because he can sense it, and he's like, damn, this is gonna suck. And it does.
Yeah. Then they eat a lot of takeout.
Yeah.
They hide and they eat takeout.
Yeah.
And they hang out with Drew, which no one appreciates.
Yeah, and Drew's just like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this guy a weapon. And Rohan's like, no weapon.
I don't know why you think of Drew as having like an Italian accent. I never thought of that.
I don't know. When I heard his voice, that's what I sound. That's the sound I heard.
That's fine. You're allowed. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to tell my narrator that. I'm getting audio Blood Reunion done in, I want to say November.
He's like, no, bro. It's like, no. Like, can we stop trying to make things into weapons? He's like, you don't know what I've seen, boy. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Well, that's
he basically pulls the whole "I've seen the end of the universe, so you can't possibly understand. So shut your mouth."
This is the stuff they've been talking about this since book one. The stuff between the stars. Things between the stars.
Are they basically Cthulhu? Because I know you mentioned the deep old ones.
Actually, one of them actually is Cthulhu.
Wow.
Actually, there's a location in book 6 called mentioned. They don't go there, but it's mentioned, called Cthulhu's Crucible. And
Cthulhu sold out in the meantime while he's been away.
all that stuff is in the it's out of copyright.
That sounds like a restaurant.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good restaurant, but sure.
You start eating, and then you see like these just horrible visions.
So we're gonna learn more about them in drips and drabbles.
So
and over the next few books.
But anyway, so Druv is like, we got to make this guy into a weapon, and he's like, is that really a good idea? And he's like, not really, but it's the best bet we got because we can't really kill him. It's like we tried.
They are terrified, right? The people who made the Ildrak left. They fled the sector, like, we can't handle this. So they left. And the Ildrak are left, and they see themselves as like the last, the barrier between the thing protecting everybody from dying, right? Without their work. So to them, that justifies all the whatever crappy shit they do.
And also like they're like kind of in the polyamory, I guess, because Drew has like a girlfriend basically that he kind of, you know, hangs out with.
Well,
And then
the
like he's
males,
married to one of the matrons as well, who like
well,
shows
the
up.
males, yeah, but I mean, the males have to keep the empire intact. They have to go to the colonies and have relationships and impregnate women to make more hybrids. It's like required by their system.
So again, kind
If
of
they
like the
didn't, if they,
Viltrumites, they go to other planets and like bang women to, you
no,
know.
no, no. But that was the part that bothered me, right? Because the Viltrumites weren't supposed to do that. Nolan did it, and it was against the Viltrumite rules, right? Then that other guy went, and then Nolan went to that planet with like the insect people who like
Oh
matured
yeah,
super fast,
yeah,
and realized he could raise an army. But then that other guy did. He went to the planet and deliberately tried to raise an army
yeah.
of half
Thrag.
Viltrumites. But the whole point of that was that it was not normal. That Viltrumites weren't doing this normally. There weren't a lot of half-blooded Viltrumites out there, right? It was like a sea change in the Viltrumite culture in
Mm-hmm.
during Invincible. And that bugged me because I'm like, well, if you've got this effectively, Viltrumite semen is an incredible weapon, right? Because you can take it to this planet and create these super soldiers like anytime you want. So like, how could they have gone thousands of years and no one ever thought to do it before? That seems weird to me. And that was the whole foundation of the Hybrid Helix.
Well, my
Was
answer is
me.
they were probably obsessed with conquering, and they weren't really, you know.
But then any one guy really wants to conquer, goes to a planet and says, I'm going to knock up a whole bunch of people, get me my harem, but come on, let's go and raises an army of half Viltrumites really fast. And that should have happened sometime in the last thousands of years. That was my critique or the plot hole that I felt I saw in Invincible, and this was my answer to it. Like
Yeah.
these guys are trying as hard as they can to raise as many hybrids as they can. It just doesn't successful very often, and then they tend to get killed because they're using them in war. So
Yeah,
but
there's
that's
also, if I recall, there's also some talk of the Civil War that happened prior to.
there was a rebellion, so a bunch got killed there. They're always fighting the Wedge, so they die in the Ring Gate, which we'll see more of in book 4. Yeah, 4. So they're always fighting in wars, right? And doing other stuff that we'll find out more about as the series goes on.
One thing that kind of bugged me, it's not really a big deal, but one thing that kind of bugged me is that he doesn't call his mom. Like, he's all like, "Hey mom, I'll keep in contact. Sorry I was away for 10 years." And he doesn't do it.
There's 6 months in between books. He could have been on the phone with her every Sunday. You don't know.
That's a good point.
You don't know what's going on.
That's kind of like, oh man,
6 months between books, man. Like, you don't know what's happening. He could be doing a lot of things.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe in the short story, he calls his mom. I don't know.
Yeah. Rohan calls his mom. Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to remember because when he sees his mom again later in the series, like I think in book 4, I'm trying to remember if she mentions whether he's been calling or not. I can't remember if I put that in there. That does seem like a very mom thing to do. You haven't called.
Yeah.
You said you're gonna call. Sorry, mom. I don't know.
But his dad shows up again, and he's just like, "Oh my god, this is killing me over here." And Druv's doing his thing. He's basically not doing too much. He's just chilling out, eating food, and getting drunk, while waiting for the rest of the fleet to show up. Basically,
I mean, but that's his thing, right? They're not frontline fighters, right? They're like making the calls and they're raising the kids, and then they send the kids off to war. They don't go themselves. So that's on brand, right? That's how they see themselves. They see themselves as the behind the scenes guys. So. Yeah. You're not supposed to like him. People are like, are you supposed to like this guy? I'm like, no. I mean, if you do, it's fine, but that wasn't really my plan.
Yeah, and he's like, and I think even Rohan at one point is like, you have better things to do with your time? And he's like, no. He's like, all right. Something like that. I don't remember.
But I just tried to write him as annoying as possible. And I feel like that's the one.
I think he's like racist towards the vampires or something. He's like,
he's a little racist towards everybody.
He's just like, I don't know when you guys
they're
were
better
like
than everybody
little
else.
frog people, and like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, it's the evil empire, That's. They're not good. They're not. You're not supposed to like them. So.
Yeah, and kind of like I said last episode, but you didn't get it because you're not much of a video gamer. But I'm like, so this is basically the plot of Mass Effect 2 and 3, where they're trying to get everyone together to fight this like Bayer evil that's going down on the other side of the galaxy, who might or might not show up at some point.
If you say so. I have not. I don't know. I know zero about Mass Effect. Actually, someone I was just another booktuber was talking about how everyone should watch like one of those videos that tells the story of Mass Effect, even if you're not going to play the game. And I was like, I could do that. Maybe one of these days I will do that, but I have not yet.
But then
I forget
again,
who that was.
I guess that's not the like most original plot in the world. You know, you have to get everyone together to fight the great evil.
Come on, it's the Avengers.
That's
I
that's
mean, the
true.
original Avengers from the '60s,
That's
right?
true.
Like
Yeah.
that's not. I don't mean the Marvel movie. I mean the Marvel movie also, right? But like that's. And I'm not saying the Avengers are the first place where that happens. I have no idea. Like, I mean, the Justice League, I'm sure had a. I don't know the Justice League's origin story actually. I'm not really a DC guy, but
We gotta fight Darkseid or something. I don't know.
yeah. But is that how the Justice League formed for the first time?
No,
Like
I
in
think they
Justice
fought
League
Starro
One?
first, if I recall. But that's like all the
Okay.
way back in the '60s. So I mean, I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
alive
yeah.
at that point.
No, no. Actually, neither was I. But I mean, I read a lot of the old Marvel comics in reprints,
Oh, okay.
like the first 10, 20
So you're more
Fantastic
of a
Four.
Marvel guy.
I am really more of a Marvel guy by
Mm.
far. I've
Mm.
read some. I've read a lot of the Question, and a little bit of Batman and Green Arrow, and almost nothing else. It's just not a and some of the more obscure stuff like Richard. No, what's his name? The martial arts character. His name I can't remember
Richard
now.
Dragon?
Yeah. I read some of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I
I
forgot
really,
you like the
I
kung
really like
fu
martial art.
stuff.
I really do. I really do. I really
So
love
you're a
that
fan
stuff.
like the Heroes for Hire, you know?
I really was. I was much more into that than like Fantastic Four or Avengers.
Fair enough.
Much more into like Master Kung Fu, Iron Fist, Heroes for Hire, Moon Knight, all that stuff. I was so
Daredevil's
much
got a bit of that.
Daredevil, much more of that than into like. And weirdly, I also like some of the cosmic stuff, like Warlock.
I don't mean to be like that fan, but like, hey, if you ever do like I would love to see a Heroes for Hire type spin on in the Hybrid Helix. That would be pretty fun. But you know,
Yeah,
maybe I'll write some fan fiction
yeah.
at some point and mail it over to you for your approval.
There you go. Heroes for Hire. I don't know. I mean, Spiral is very similar to Iron Fist in a lot of ways. Um, we don't see him on page that much. Spiral and Amber were like the first two characters I wrote in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a book. I started writing a book based on them, and then and then when I was thought of Rohan and this stuff, I put it in the same setting so I could borrow those characters. That book was never finished. I don't know if I'll ever. Maybe I should. No, I probably won't. Anyway. So yeah.
So what else happens in Blood Reunion aside from all of this drama?
Matron shows up.
Oh yeah, the matron shows up. She's not happy.
Had to do that.
She's such a total bitch too. Like she's just the Ildrock are not nice people.
They're not supposed to be. Like that's deliberate. I agree.
They're not nice at all. She's
No,
all
although
like,
first of all, like think about it though. First of all, they're terrified. They know there's like
and they're also basically power behemoths, and if they get pissed off, it's a bad day for everyone involved. So yeah,
well, the matron specifically, right? Like they have this uncontrollable rage just waiting to erupt all the time. You know, it's like being a teenage boy, but it lasts forever.
yeah, pretty much.
And it's worse. It's like a teenage boy on steroids, except it lasts forever. So yeah, they're crazy.
Man, if you thought Rohan's temper problems were bad, oh.
Well, they're worse, right? The matrons, it's much worse. It's the same thing, literally. It's the same source, but it's magnified. So that's why they don't fight because once they start, it doesn't stop. So except when except at the very last scene, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part too.
Where she gets to like, you know, get a little workout in for the first time in her like adult life.
That has to suck though. Like, you know, you just get like, you're just like, you know, you just deal with stuff that irritates you all the time, and you can't do nothing because if you do, you might blow up the planet or something crazy like that.
See, to me, this is what women go through. It just sums it up. It's just like
So you
an
saw
encapsulation.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, yeah. I'm angry all the time. Like, you don't know what it's like to be a woman, right? I really like that line actually from her. And people talk about not everyone loved that show. Actually, I had mixed feelings about the show, but I like that sequence quite a bit. So
I
yeah,
like when
no, there's
Daredevil showed up. That was fun.
yeah, that was good. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, like the Eldrock are not nice people.
Yeah,
They have
and
reasons. They're reasons, and hopefully we understand. Okay, we can have some sympathy for them.
she
Some.
now me, I guess I fall under the, hey man, sometimes you gotta pinch off some heads. Like, I look, I get it. I get sometimes, you know, like like I said, Rohan's a better man than me because he gets betrayed and screwed over a couple times in this series so far, and he's all like, it's all good. We can have a beer later. We can talk it over.
He is so tough.
I
That
know
he's
the
not
reason why he's that way.
Yeah,
But
he's not protective of himself, right? Like if you hurt him, it's like, yeah, I can take it. Like he's not but if you hurt my friends, it's different, right? Or if you're
yeah,
my other people, it's different. So like that was deliberate. And then I was gonna say something else, and now I don't remember what it was. I just had a glass of whiskey, so maybe that's interfering here.
I had a whiskey the other night to celebrate J.A.J. Minton's launch of their book
Nice,
Discovery,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't even drink that much, and it just freaking went to my head like not too long after. I was like, damn.
Are you not a drinker? Is that
Not
what I'm
often. No,
hearing?
I drink for special occasions. That's probably why. But
It's very much something you can build a tolerance. I
mm.
went on a cruise last year. It was like 12 days of like all you can drink.
Oh no.
And I was drinking, so I was just drinking a lot. Because you're on a cruise, right? There's nothing to drive. I don't have a car, right? So like I can drink as much. And by the 12th day, I was like, I sat down in the afternoon. I had like 3 beers, and I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good.
That's
Like
great.
that's not where I want to be, right? Because it was like 3 like Norwegian like high alcohol content, and I'm like I just pounded. I'm like I'm totally stone sober still, and I went home and I don't think I like took a month. I didn't drink anything. I was like,
Yeah, it
I
reminds me of my
can't keep
dad.
this
He's
up.
the same way. Like he'll just sometimes he'll just go nuts and then he'll come back. He's like, I'm not drinking for like a month, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
yeah,
you
yeah.
do you, man.
I mean,
Maybe it's a
I was
guy.
on a cruise.
Maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you're on a cruise, you can't, right? There's bars everywhere on the ship. Anyway, um, yeah. Always.
But
Yeah,
you know who?
they're cranky and. Sorry, go ahead.
You know who else enjoys their alcohol? Rohan. Though he can't get drunk, can he? Like, doesn't he like not be able to get drunk? Or
He can get drunk. It just takes a lot.
oh yeah,
He gets drunk. He gets drunk. He gets drunk a few times. He's feeling it. I know. In during the when the Ursons are more in mourning in book 1. I know he's feeling it. He gets pretty loaded in book 4. I can't remember if he does in book 3.
I gotta read book 4. See where he gets loaded.
Book
Awesome.
book 4 was I'll see what you think. But there's a thing I did writing wise in book 4 that I've impressed myself. I thought it was really good. I don't know if anyone else cares, but you'll see.
Yeah,
He likes to drink because he's a little bit of a self-insert, and I like to drink, and that but also he just it's like it's the whole like he wants to live a normal life. To him, that means drinking and eating and like having a regular job and like it's all the stuff that wasn't emphasized when he was a soldier. Right, because you can imagine when he was a soldier, when he was on a ship, they were probably just giving him food that was super nutritious, but not necessarily worried about like was it tasty. They weren't getting these guys drunk. Like if you're on a warship and because effectively the hybrids are your weapon, right? That guy is your cannon, right? So if you're going in a war, you're not getting him drunk. You're like you need to drink water, right? You need to have a coffee, black, no sugar, right? Because you need to be ready to fight. So I'm sure they were treated in a very sort of military way.
yeah.
So
And,
this is all a reaction to that.
and yeah, Rohan doesn't want that anymore. He's just like, I just want to have a normal. I just want to be normal.
Normal life. Normal
Yeah.
life. Yeah, no more genocide. Cut back on the murders.
This little recurring running gag on this show.
Cut back on the murders.
Cut back on the murder.
Oh, I know what I was
Unfortunately,
thinking.
he does
Because
relapse on the murder because he has to. Well, technically, I don't know if it's murder, but he does kill somebody in this.
oh yeah, he kills a lot of. I mean, he kills 2,000 people in book one.
That's
He
true.
kills a
Yeah,
lot of
he
people
does murder
in
a
the
bunch of.
series. He kills, but he tries not to, right? He generally speaking, he tries not to. So he's. This is a reaction. This is me sort of speaking out against like Rurouni Kenshin. Are you familiar with Kenshin?
That
It
sounds
was a,
familiar.
it was a relatively popular anime and manga first, and the main character was like a former assassin
Oh yeah.
who had he basically switched his sword, so like the blunt side is on the front,
Mm.
and he just says, "I'll never kill again." And he, no matter what people do, he's like, "I won't." He'll fight, he'll beat people up, but he won't kill. He
Mm.
says, "Just completely," and to the point where it's like, "Come on, man! Like people do horrible, horrific things just to make him kill," and he's like, "No, I won't do it." And it's like it's very annoying, and like you get what they're trying to do with the story, but it's almost like at some point it's like Batman, right? I'll never kill Batman. Sometimes Superman is portrayed as having this sort of ethos. It's pretty common in comics, partially because the comics code,
Yeah.
I'm sure, like gave them a good excuse, right? Like, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? But I mean, this is what you always have, like, why doesn't the Batman just snap this guy's neck at some point? Like, come on, like this is ridiculous. Like he's caused so much suffering, and like it's your fault because you could have snapped his neck, 2,000 issues ago, and you didn't. So to me, it's like Rohan. I never wanted Rohan to be that guy. I wanted Rohan to be sort of like, I'll try really hard not to snap your neck, but then you push me too far, and I'll do what needs to be done. So this was a manifestation of that. I didn't want that annoyance because that stuff annoys me. It annoys me that Batman doesn't snap the Joker's neck.
Yeah, I mean, he tries not to murder, but
he tries too hard, and then Rohan tries not to murder, but then he's like, at some point, he's like, okay, it's murder time.
Yeah,
let's go.
Pretty much.
Murder time. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
and he's good at murdering. Like that's the funny part, right? Like, and I made a guy who's like, it's his thing. He's really good at the murdering. Right?
Again, I forget if you've read the first Law or not, but it's kind of like
a long time ago.
I was gonna be like, he's kind of like Logan Nine Fingers, where like he's really good at violence, but he kind of scares himself with how good he is.
That is a very good analogy, and I remember really liking. I don't remember the book super well, but I remember really liking Logan Nine Fingers and really enjoying that book. I think I read it when it came out, pretty much whenever that was, a long time ago. I'm old, so.
Yeah, the new Joe Abercrombie book came out.
Devils, I've heard mixed things.
Yeah, same. I did see it at my local bookshop the other day, and I was like, should I pick it up? And I'm like, nah, I'll get it next time.
It sounds like the book I would have written if I were Joe Abercrombie and I was trying to get a movie deal.
Which is, it's funny you say that, because that's about what happened. He's like,
right?
James Cameron's like, hey, let me get a snap of that.
He works in that world, though. He works doing TV stuff.
Yeah,
right? So he understands that world, and it's because you've got these like cool characters. Come on, they're supernatural guys working for the Pope. Like that's high concept, right? That's like the one line pitch that people are gonna go crazy for, and I'm like, that's great, good for Joe. I respect that, but I don't know if I'm gonna read it. We'll see. I have a lot of stuff to read. I have a TBR that's
same. It's ridiculous.
It really is.
Like, have you seen all the books I have here? I haven't read all of them.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even own them. They're all on my Kindle. I mean, I don't own the physical. I'm a Kindle guy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I have so many. I
like physical media. I've thought about getting a Kindle though.
I'm trying to read the books of people I know that I'm going to see at Worldcon. So when I see them, like, I don't want to see Andy Peliquin again and be like, I still haven't read Dark Blades. So I'm reading Dark Blades. I'm like, okay, I'll get them.
Man, I was so mad. I was so mad the other day when I was like, I want to write a cozy necromancer story. And he's like, oh, Andy Peliquin already did that. I'm like, damn it.
No, cozy necromancer?
Yeah.
You're thinking of that's not Andy Peliquin. You're thinking of Gam Gam, Adam Holcomb.
Oh yeah.
It's Adam Holcomb.
Oh,
those are good. I would read Gam Gam. Gam Gam's a really solid book. The sequel's good.
Yeah, I was like, damn it. Like,
yeah,
I was really
thought Adam's a buddy. No, Andy. I don't think Andy Peliquin writes cozies. Andy Peliquin he wrote like the Dark Blade series, which is at like 10 or 12. Chonkers too, and they're very it's like a D&D style world, but they're pretty they're pretty dark. They're solid. They're good books, but I mean, I'm only a part of the way through the first one. I don't have a super informed opinion on the series. I'm sure I've heard it gets better as you go, which is, and it's like, okay, I got to read a bunch of books, which I will. I have.
I do enjoy some of the references and puns in the chapter names, like "What are we, electric sheep?" Like I see what you did there.
Yeah.
It's also no excuses. I'm like, that's wonderful.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Well,
that's
there
a
were
beautiful that's a beautiful
eggs.
bad pun right there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the
Who's the
chapter titles I
boss?
have
I
too
think
much.
that's a sitcom name, if I recall.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of chapter titles. There's a lot of stuff in there that probably only people my age will totally. And none of it's important.
And
Like,
if
if
I
you don't
recall,
get that that's a
that's one of the
sitcom.
volume names of Invincible. I could be wrong on that, but
Oh, I didn't even catch that. I didn't even catch that.
I don't
That could
know.
be.
I don't know.
That
I don't
could
know.
be. I don't know. I
I
don't
could
know.
be misremembering.
But I was a big fan of Who's the Boss Man. I watched the show. I mean, I was young. I mean, this is way before your time. But Tony Danza. I think there was something like similar in that chapter to what happened in the show. Um, Maybe not. I don't
I've never
remember.
watched Who's the Boss, so I have no context
Yeah,
on this. I just know it
it's not.
because,
It's not important.
well, for
Like,
one, I like Invincible, and I know that like Robert
yeah,
Kirkman used a bunch of like sitcom names for his
yeah,
volumes. Because
yeah.
I don't know. I guess that just
Sitcoms were more important in my era, right? Because like, you only had it like 3 or 4 channels, period, right? So it was more of a common cultural thing. Like everyone watched. There were shows that like everyone saw. Like everyone saw the Cosby Show. Maybe not everyone watched it every week. But like you didn't. You would when I was growing up, you didn't know anyone who like didn't know the show, right? Just that didn't happen
bet that was
because we just had
awkward
a much net.
when all the
Yeah,
Bill
yeah, right.
Cosby stuff
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah. It was, but it was a different era. Like you don't have that today because media is so diversified compared to what it was. That I'm sure the kids are watching shows that I've never heard of. Like all the kids know it, but I've never heard of it. It didn't happen back in the day. So I'm not saying it's bad or better or worse, but it's different. Yeah. And
Yeah,
every time
no.
I get a chapter 42, I have to make a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy joke.
The meaning of life, universe, and everything.
I think in at least one of the books, I just call chapter 42 the answer. I don't remember which book. And then I make other like not quite the answer, but close or something like that. And then I have fun with the chapter titles. It's like, why not? Like, you're getting
But
it's like free. It's another way I can entertain someone,
oh yeah, going back
right?
to Rohan and his dad's kind of weird
Yeah.
relationship. Again, it's kind of weird. I guess I shouldn't expect this because Rohan is just too chill for this world. But like, I was expecting him to be more like mad at his dad than he is. I guess not like angsty teenager bad, but like I thought he'd at least be like, "You're kind of a douche," which he kind of does. He's kind of like, "You're being kind of a douche right now," and he's like, he just kind of shrugs him off.
It's tough. I mean, fathers are a thing, right?
It's
It's
kind of
tough
weird. Like
to.
I don't know if it's like he loves him and hates him. It's just kind of like I understand
It's
you, but you're also a dick, and that's not okay.
it's still his father, and it's a father who worked very hard to manipulate him into loving him as Rohan was a child in scenes we'll never see, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're master manipulators. I mean, that is how they have an empire, right? Making their children love them when it's not reasonable, and then sending them off to war. Like that is how the empire exists. So you figure they learn a few tricks. And Rohan, you can know that you've been manipulated, but that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't work. It doesn't make it not work, right? So that's all implied. I don't, it's not. I'm not going into huge detail in any of it.
But yeah,
I'm not gonna write a.
there's even like other characters like, man, your dad's kind of a douche, and he's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He knows.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah.
I think like someone. I was gonna say something, but like someone like is kind of like, man, your dad's just like. I think it's the empath lady who hates his guts like instantly.
Because she's an empath, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
she knows what people are. she can sense their emotions, right? So she's the best judge of character on the ship, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then Rohan's dad comes up with a really harebrained scheme. He's like, I'm going to take over Wistful. It's gonna be fine. And of course, Rohan's like, that's
not fine.
That's a terrible idea. You're coming up so many L ideas, Dad. And that's a terrible idea. And he's like,
he's a schemer, right? Even among the Eldrock, he's more of a schemer than the typical dude. You don't meet other male Eldrock, so it's like you're supposed to, the schemer,
wanting to control their little worlds,
plans within plans within plans, but half of them are crazy and are based on assumptions that make no sense.
He's like, it's the only way, man. What do you want me to do? And, he's like, not that.
Yeah, not that. What do you want me to do? Sit down.
And then Rohan,
keep quiet.
He's like, we can't
go to your room.
He's like, we can't just sit down and talk it out with this thing. I'm sorry. Like, we can't do that. And he's like, I don't know. Like, we gotta try. And he's like, no. It's like, and then Rohan comes up with an even crazier idea than that. And he's like, I'm going to free Wistful, and you're gonna like it. And he's like, that's a terrible idea. And it's like, that's less terrible than what you're planning to do. Also, there was an agreement. And he's like, man, in times of crisis, you can't, you gotta bend some rules, man.
You gotta bend some rules. You gotta do what needs to be done. I mean, that's their whole ethos.
And Rohan's like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. So then he goes on kind of an adventure to figure out how he is going to... He tries to cure the vampire at first, because he's trying to find a cure for vampirism, even though everyone's like, Rohan, that's not going to work. People have tried. We haven't gotten there yet. And Rohan's like, wing it in a prayer, buddy. And just... If I recall, he gets like his feet almost sawed off, and he's just like, oh my god. Jesus, dude.
Yeah, bloodline right into the femur.
Yeah, and they meet like this shady doctor who used to be a part of this nation, but then the Eldrock showed up and murdered everyone.
Rohan specifically genocided her people.
Yeah, and
with his own hands,
and she's not happy about it. She's like, "Aren't you that guy who murdered all my people?" And he's like, "Yeah, shit."
I'm trying to remember. Does she know it was him, or did she just know it was a hybrid? I can't remember.
I think it was she. I think it was a hybrid. I don't think she knew it was him. I don't think
she knew it was exactly him, but it was. He knows it, so that's got to be awkward for him, right? You got to feel like.
Yeah, and he's like,
he's got to feel kind of weird.
I think even in the book, he goes like, well, if it makes you feel better, I'll probably be in complete agony while you're sawing into my leg. And she's like, you know what? I can live with that.
Yeah. That does make her feel better, right? That's... Oh, are you going to suffer? Good. I'm glad.
And then he tries to cure the lady vampire who he thinks is kind of into him, but...
All right, well, so when you were reading that, did you think that was going to work, or did you think it wasn't going to work?
I wasn't sure. I was like, well, stranger things have happened in books, Maybe it will work, and then it doesn't. You're like, oh.
I'm never sure if I foreshadow too strongly or not strongly enough with things like that.
Oh, I didn't notice if there was any. Again, I've not really been doing great on the discerning reader thing recently.
That's fun. You don't need to. I don't think there's
been kind of burned out,
requirement. Man. I don't think there's any kind of requirement to read and go oh, I know what's going to happen. But sometimes I feel like you're reading a book and the next thing is obvious, the next reveal. And I always try not to do that. I always try to have people reading these and they go to this point and they're like, I'm not sure if this is going to be how this is going to go. It could go,
I was kind of nervous that Rohan might get himself killed, but I'm like, well, there's 4 other books after this, so probably not. But I don't know.
He's not going to get killed, right? The kids, he and Rinth are the.
I thought it was going to go.
They
wrong.
have all the plot armor.
I thought it might go wrong and somebody was going to die. I'll put it that.
I should have turned him into a vampire, and then the rest of the series, him just like eating everybody in the universe, like
Oh my
planet by
god.
planet. That would have been a great ending to the series. He becomes the danger that everyone's worried about, and then he wins, and like just ends up sitting alone on a planet devoid of life because he's eaten it all, just like bloated and.
Yeah, like he tries to have a heart to heart with the vampire, and it just doesn't work. He's just like, I'm
I
sorry.
should write my own line of what if stories.
Yeah, like what if Rohan was a
What
vampire?
if Rohan became a vampire in the second third of Blood Reunion? And then I could just write about him eating his way through the universe.
And it turns out, again, not just he's a shadow he's just a shadow stepper, but he's also like a soul eater, and that's like a big deal with the vampires. Like that's like a vampire, but it can like take your essence. Like it can literally suck your soul out, like a Dementor. I don't know if you read
And
Harry
add it,
Potter,
and
but
I did, but the tricky thing here is it sucks your soul, it adds it to its own, and adds to its power.
that's true.
And
Yeah.
that's the bottom line, right?
Which,
This is how
no
you
wonder
get,
he's insane. It has to deal with all the.
Yes.
I bet he wonders with all those voices all the time.
That's why they're all it is if you are so this is the whole thing, right? Like, this is the whole balance of power in the universe. You get very scared because there are very powerful things coming after you. So what's one way to like meet them, become stronger? Well, this is a really probably the best, the most efficient way to get like really powerful, so you can fight your enemies. But there's this downside that it drives you a little loopy.
Yeah, and that
Right, and
with
then
all. Isn't that how it works with all the hybrids? Like if you go too much, like you go crazy, or is that just with the vampires?
No, but the hybrids, it's just rage, right? They go insane with rage. It's like a berserker thing, and that's it. But the vampires become permanently insane,
Yeah,
like fractured personality, because they
I
don't
think
know
it's called
who's
Soul
who
Eater,
anymore.
isn't it? Isn't it called a Soul
Yeah.
Eater?
Yeah, so it's a
And the
it
other
can be
and even the
vampires.
other vampires are scared. So this is like a big deal.
Yeah, because he's potentially unlimited power,
And even
which no one else has.
And Rohan just kind of rubs it into Druv's face, like, this is why it's a bad idea. You really don't want to sick that guy on a bunch of
Right.
people because he's gonna not stop, and you don't know how to stop him. And he's like,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like I'll make it up as I go along.
And then there's that danger, right? Like you get this really tough guy, and you send someone really tough to stop him, and he eats their soul, and then he's even stronger than before. And now you're screwed.
So yeah, that's
Right.
when I think that's when Rohan's like, yeah, damn it.
Fine, murder time. It's good.
He goes full relapse in the murder.
I'm gonna. Now I want to make that the title of book 9, Murder Time.
Yeah,
That actually
you should
fits.
call it. You should have a chapter called "Damn It, I Guess It's Murder Time."
I guess it's murder time. I really should. I really need to use that phrase more. Murder. It's murder time. He needs to he needs to have like a pose.
And it kind of
It's murder time,
and
like
it-
a Power Ranger.
And it kind of sucks because like Rohan's like, I don't want to be a murderer anymore. Like, it sucks, you know. Like,
That's the series, right? That's the tension.
it's kind of
'Cause
like
you should.
I don't know if you watched Avatar. I don't know why you haven't watched Avatar if you haven't watched it because it has stuff you love kung fu stuff. That's like kung fu
Talking about-
magic. You
About
know?
the cartoon?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've seen Avatar.
yeah.
I think I've only watched it through like once, maybe two. And I saw the sequel series.
I'm like, if you haven't, I'd be shocked given your love of kung fu stuff. But you know,
I have definitely seen Avatar. I liked it quite a bit. I liked it a lot. I watched it with my kid actually, but like we definitely made a point of like sitting down and watching the whole series through
yeah,
with my son.
yeah. It's kind of like
I
that a
like
little
the show.
bit, where he's kind of like Zuko, where he's like, I don't want to be that angry guy anymore. Like but he's still like used to it though, and he's trying to like, and that's kind of like the drama through the series. He's like,
Yeah. Will he need to succumb to the monster within? That's the monster within, right? That's a running theme in a lot of media. You know, you're gonna let out the monster within so you can do the thing that might be a good thing and a needed thing, but it requires the monster.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's not a fun time for Rohan and friends.
no, it's murder time. I like that expression. Now I'm gonna want to use it more.
But so his attempts to cut back on murder fail once again.
No, he does hardly any murdering in this
That's
book.
true. He
With a
doesn't
little,
murder too much. Like
who does he murder? He
he
murders
only murders the vampire.
one guy. One guy. That's like so much less. Who does he murder in book one? He kills a couple sharks in book two. I don't even know if he murders anyone else in
In
book
book
two.
one, he like levels a Urs or an
In
Urson
in book
fleet.
one, he murders. He murders thousands.
Yeah, he's just
But
like, damn it.
everyone has a look. Everyone has a slip up here and there.
So
You
bad.
can't look. This is just right. You it's like an alcoholic, right? Like some people just quit booze, but most people have setbacks, right? It's just a setback. You fall off the wagon, you get back on the wagon.
I don't, but I don't know. Is it kind of like an addiction for Rohan? I didn't really think of it like that.
No. That's not an exact analogy. No, it's more like he just ends up. It's like when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's his best hammer. He's just really good at it. Like, that's the whole thing. He's really well trained to be really good at the murdering, and so like he knows that's like his go-to where he can solve a lot of problems, real problems. Like this guy probably deserved to be murdered. Right? There probably wasn't another way out. And he's really good at it. So
Yeah, and,
so
like,
it's a struggle to like not do it.
yeah, he even has like a heart to heart with his best friend, the empath, and is like,
Whaley.
and she's like, there's something else going on here. And he's like, well, I know what it's like to be raised to be a weapon, like if he doesn't have, it's that scene where he's basically like, well, if he's screwed, what does that say about me? And she's like, well, you're not a vampire, so get your head out of your ass. And he's like, fine. That's.
I feel like if I was going to rewrite the series, I feel like she would need to slap him on the back of the head more often. That's like because she doesn't actually do it, but like
She just
I feel
verbally
like,
slaps him on the back.
I feel
of
like
the
she
head.
wants. I feel like in my mind now, she wants to slap him in the back of the head a lot. Like schmuck, go murder that guy. He needs it, but she doesn't slap him in the back of the head. She's too nice.
She just is
too nice.
like, well, one, you're not a vampire, so get over yourself.
Get over yourself. Yeah. That is her. That is Whaley's advice to everybody. Get over yourself.
And he's
that's
like,
what she's always thinking.
Fine, I guess I gotta go commit a murder.
Because to Whaley, like she's an empath, right? Like
Yeah.
she like to her, it's like nobody's special. Because you might think you're special because you have like feelings in this inner world that to you is unique, but she can see it. She sees that everyone has this inner world of like feelings and emotions and thoughts because she can sense it. She can literally see it.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally, like directly.
Yeah.
So to her, nobody's special. Like you get over yourself. You're not special. You think your suffering is unique. That guy over there, I don't know what happened to him, but he's suffering just as much as you. I can trust me. Right. So she knows that. So she's giving her a different perspective.
And he's like,
So writing her.
all right then, I guess I'll pop a head off. I don't wanna.
He doesn't want to. Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? That's what matters. You don't want to pop heads off. And he's like, okay.
There you go.
That doesn't make me feel any better, but I guess I'll do this. So this one last showdown with the vampire. I forget exactly how they figure out how to beat him. I think they go like, hey, Aang, you don't want to be this guy's bitch, do you? And he's like, you're right. I do not. And he goes nuts.
No, the stones come. It's the Scooby Doo thing. It's the Scooby Gang, right? Like you ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer? She has the Scooby Gang is all these people solving problems in other parts, right? So and I don't always manage this, but I try to have like elements of the solution or like whipped together by like the Stones or someone else. So Ben Stone comes up with the pheromone blocker.
If I remember right, I think they changed
the
the pheromones
blocker,
or something.
Right? They just put a blocker, right? They pump something into the air supply that's going to rest because pheromone is going to work because you've got a chemical receptor in your nervous system, right? So this is something else that sits on the receptor. It has a higher affinity for it and blocks the pheromones. And then they're like, oh, this doesn't work anymore. It's chemistry, right? It's made up chemistry, but it's chemistry.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Stones saved this. That gets the Earth.
Oh yeah,
free
that's right. The Stones.
They just pump it into because Ben Stone's a world, galaxy famous biochemist. Like
Yeah,
that's
he
been
and his
true.
wife
You
also
know,
show up, and I really like him and Rohan's friendship. It's kind of like
yeah.
a
I patterned him after my dad.
yeah. He's just
So
he's just
yeah,
like, hey, you want to get a
yeah,
drink? And he's like,
yeah,
hell
yeah.
yes, I do.
Hell yes, I
It's
do.
been a
Here's a
long
donut.
day.
It's a donut and a whiskey. You are
Exactly.
my favorite person.
He's
Because anyone
like,
who's giving me a donut and a whiskey is
yeah,
my
he was like,
favorite guy.
he's like, I wanna. He's like, we have donuts from this galaxy. Tastes amazing. And
So yes,
then the vampire gives the whole, "Oh, you can't beat me. I'm too powerful." Rah rah. And he's like,
I like my mustache twirling speeches.
it's
I
funny.
really
It
do.
makes me think of that conversation we had on Twitter the other day, and I was bitching about how all these villains are like, they always say it's nothing personal. Stop saying that. That just makes them more angry. And then and then you chime in and you're like, "You know what? Next book, I'll have one of my guys go, this is absolutely personal." I'm like, "Fine."
Oh, I've got a fight in the
That'd be a
next book where
nice change of pace.
I can actually have her use that. Yeah, no,
That'd
I
be
have
a
a good
nice
idea for
change
that.
of pace because everyone
Yeah,
always says it's nothing personal. I'm like, that just makes people
no,
more angry.
yeah,
That doesn't help
yeah,
at all.
no, it doesn't help. It does not help. Yeah, it makes it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just like,
If I stole your girlfriend, at least oh, you're murdering me because I stole your girlfriend. Fine, nothing personal. It's like, well, then don't hurt me. It's nothing personal. You don't have anything against me. Leave me alone. Um, yeah. So, and then they free Wistful from the governor, which is going to have repercussions.
oh yeah, the governor is what they call that little,
Physical device in her brain that makes her follow orders,
pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Which is what I'd want to put if I had an AI driven, battleship.
And of
I'd
course,
want to,
I think Rohan defeats the Eldritch vampire, snaps his head
of course.
off. It's just like, shit. Well, too bad for that guy. Then he goes in and frees Wistful. He just does it. He just takes a little thing out, and he's like,
His friends do. He's not there even
oh
there.
yeah. His friends do.
His
He just
friends,
kind
and
of,
they had to do that first. Otherwise, Wistful would have helped the vampire against him because she was. So they had to free her so she wouldn't interfere. in
and
the
that's
fight.
also a big deal because they're like, well, if we let him free, they'll kind of just do whatever they want, and that might not be a good thing for everyone.
That's the relationship between all of the meat civilizations, like the Ilzine, the Ildrak, and their ships. Right? They all try to control the ships, either through literal like physical devices. They're basically kind of like slaves. And Rohan's going around freeing them, and that's hopefully people reading this are like that could have some repercussions later, and yes, it will.
Yeah, and
But that's part of his thing, right? Like you can't treat people like this. You got to be, if you want a ship to do something for you, do something, make a trade, enter don't
yeah,
just
he
enslave them.
basically rubs it in his dad's face. He's like, "You suck it. She's free now. Go away." And he's like,
It's because it's true. He can never win that argument. He can never say like, oh, but like I was right, because Drew is going to be like, yeah, you were right because I trained you, I raised you to be this smart. So really, I'm right. And he's like, fuck. Like, he's just the most irritating guy I could think of.
So yeah, they have that little argument, and then he's like, "Okay, you go away." And then he also figures out that matron is basically a stepmom. So he's like, "God damn, this family, it's ridiculous."
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite little bits at the end is when she's like, "Hey," his like girlfriend calls him on the phone. She's like, "Hey, so Druv's about to leave, so you want to say goodbye?" And he's like, "No, get him the hell away from me." As long as he's as far away from me as possible, you do whatever you want. He'll be back. Yeah, exactly.
He'll be back.
And she's like, "Oh, okay, are you sure?" And he's like, "I'm very, very." And she's like, "Okay." And then that's the end of that. And then he talks to the matron. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what happens. He's basically... Drew's like trying to sneak away from the matron. And Rohan's like, "Hey... So there's this planet down there called Ta 3. Crazy, but there's these kaiju hanging out there. But don't worry, you know what? You can do something you've never been able to do. And she's like, okay, I'm listening. She's like,
I'm
you
listening.
can punch them, you can beat them up, you can get as pissed off and, load off some steam as much as you want, but it'll just make them stronger. And she's like, oh, I can't resist this. So, yeah.
Yep. Yep. That was.
She's like, oh, really? She's like a kid at a candy store,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. A kid at a candy store. Get a chance to like really relax for the first time in maybe I don't know how many years.
And she's like, how pissed off are you? And she's like, very, very, all the time.
All the time.
And she's like, well, just go nuts, just
go nuts. Have at them. Right? No one's gonna get murdered because they're giant bugs.
And also they're really strong, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And they're also like empaths as well, so they'll just feed off of it. They'll just feed off the anger.
Yeah. They'll just come and take their beating and be totally okay with it. That's.
And then Druv takes off, and that's when the whole like, oh, you sure you don't want to say goodbye? He's like, I'm sure. Keep him the hell away from me.
Yeah. Groove getting under Rohan's skin is fun. Those are the fun scenes to write. Because it's like this.
I'm just like, I was kind of, at the end, I was like, God, this family, I thought my family is dysfunctional. Jesus Christ. No, I'm kidding. My family's great.
I know.
But.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted them to be dysfunctional, but in sort of, you can sort of understand where everyone's coming from.
It's on a cosmic scale, though,
It's on a cosmic scale.
Like, and his mom is literally the president of the world, while his dad
basically
is like this spy master manipulator guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be weird if he had just normal parents.
That's true.
Right? He's just he's...
And he also is like, well, I'm trying to change my ways. I'm still going to be doing my toe thing here. And so I was like, you're wasting your potential, man. And he just goes away. And that's the end of that. He's like, oh, thank God he's gone.
Yeah.
So, that's the end of book 3, I think. Unless I missed out on some stuff.
No, I think that was it. And then the moment of crisis potentially is is Wistful willing to like keep doing what she's been doing, or is she gonna be like, well, I'm free now, you guys all get off and I'm gonna go swim in the methane, oceans of Toth 7 or something.
Yeah, like
she's free. She could do.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's it. At the end, she's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And imagine 40,000 years as a slave, basically, right?
And Rohan's just like, your head. Yeah, it's par for the course, and that's it.
That's existentialism, right? That's existentialism.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's you have free will, and the whole point of like Star Trek existential, like French existentialists, was like, you do have you have self-determination, and that is actually terrifying and nauseating, because it means you can do anything. You can wake up tomorrow and like be a murderer. You can do anything, and that is not, people like, free will is great, but it's actually horrifying that you could be anything and do anything at any moment. And now Wistful is facing that, and I don't even know if she's read Sartre.
Oh God! Don't tell me you like Nausea. Did you read Nausea?
I don't think I've read it, but I think I totally approve of the fundamental point.
Oh, okay.
I generally like Sartre. I actually referenced Simone de Beauvoir in a BookTube video I did last week. And I was very proud of myself.
I don't like Sartre, not because like the philosophy's bad or anything. It's just I fucking hate his style. It's just I read The Stranger, and I'm just like, this is so much better. Like, I don't know why, because they're both pretty dry. But like in Nausea, it just feels like, oh no. It just feels like you just feel sad sacky.
I've read very little of his fiction, but I read his philosophy.
Oh.
In English. I mean, I wasn't like a real student of it, digging into the French. But to me, these books are about existentialism. They're about finding meaning and purpose in a world that doesn't have external sources of meaning and purpose. I mean, that's Rohan's whole thing, right? He's like, he's not going to follow someone else's agenda. He's going to like try to carve out his own purposeful life. So to me, it's all Sartre.
But yeah, so Wistful is just kind of like, I don't know what to do now. And he's like,
but the smart thing that
welcome to being human.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's gonna be repercussions for that, and big ones in book 7 actually,
Oh man.
which has gonna kind of come out probably in mid
Is that
July.
is that what that reference was for? Does she decide she's gonna swim in methane in book 7?
No,
Is that it? Is that it?
no,
Are you
no.
lying?
Void Shadow. Yeah, no, she doesn't do that.
Okay.
Void Shadow is the one who goes swimming all the time. Void Shadow loves to go off. Like, can I go swimming? Like, okay, fine, but make sure you can like get signals in case I need you later. And she's always off doing something. She
Oh
does a
yeah.
lot of that in book 7.
She also shows
does
up
a-
and she's doing her thing.
Well, I mean that's the other thing, right? She's
He's
got
like, I
this,
want to
this
serve you, Rohan, and Rohan's like,
Yeah. He's got this ship, and she has it like sort of baked into her to want to be of service, but she also doesn't have that baked in too hard. So that's going to be ramifications to all of it. That's the fun part. That's the fun part of a long series is you can like dribble these little hints and then like flush them out over a really long stretch of time, and that's fun.
But yeah, I think that's it for Blood Reunion, book 3
Okay.
of the Hybrid Helix.
There you go.
So yeah, Joe, thanks for hanging out and talking to me.
Thanks for having me, Britton.
About your process,
My pleasure.
and
My pleasure,
joking
man.
about murder. It's a fun time.
There you go. That's what. Getting a few murder jokes in every day. Keep the doctor away, because the doctor's scared of you.
So what do we got next?
Thank you.
In book 4. So what's the pitch for book 4?
Book 4 is Shadow of Hyperion, and it's almost impossible to pitch it without spoiling the plot line, which you don't want. You want to be surprised by it.
All right.
So the pitch for Shadow of Hyperion is: if you like the first 3, you'll like this one, and if you didn't like the first 3, why are you listening to the pitch?
That's a good point. It's a good point. So yeah, like I do before the end of these things, Joe, if you have social media, which of course you do, but share your social media if you have any.
I have a website, jcmberne.com. Pretty easy to remember. My Twitter is at JoeBerne1, the number 1, and then I'm on Blue Sky as JCM Berne, I think, with all the Blue Sky stuff attached to it. And I have a Facebook page, JCM Berne. It's all pretty obvious, I gotta say. And I have a YouTube channel, JCM Berne. You can see where it's all coming from. But watch my YouTube video on Books for Men, because I think more people need to see that video.
Because men need to read more, right?
Or I think we need to understand a better framework for how the discussion goes. And I think if you watch my video, even Raph Blue Tax mentioned it in a video of his. So I feel like I'm in the big time now.
All right. Well, until next time, whenever I read The Shadow of Hyperion, I'll get you on and interrogate you about that.
Sounds fantastic.
All right. Well, until next time, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.